Hey, how are you? Welcome to the Bitchuation Room live. I'm something. I'm Francesca Fiorentini. I am under the weather, but mostly only in the throat. I feel fine, but the bug that my daughter definitely caught from a jump house at a pumpkin patch, and if that was your child coughing in that little that sort of like encased, hot box of all the flus, we know who you are. No, I don't know who you are, but I wish I did. And when you hear like a kid at a playground with just an extra gnarly cough and you're like, fuck, I'm getting that, aren't I? Like, so yes, something's gone terribly wrong. And please don't comment, gargle with salt water. Don't comment, get some tea. Don't give me any of that crap. Because the only thing that stops a sore throat is a ton of pain meds. Truly. Like when it's bad, really bad, it's the only thing that worked. It's just like the only thing that worked. Yeah, all you have had some like pussy ass sore throats. This shit is hurting. Anyway, we have so much to get to, and I'm very excited that I have two comedians, not just one, because they can do the talking for me, even though I have a lot to say. Pallavi Gunalan is here for the first time. She is wonderful, and I'm really excited to throw down with her, as well as a fan fave, or one of my faves, comedian Anthony Atamanuik, formerly of The President Show, currently on What We Do in the Shadows. He's going to be here in just a little bit. Super excited to talk to them about, oh boy, 2 weeks before the election, we're talking about Kamala's path to the White House, if it still exists. We're going to talk about Donald Trump and his economic plan to go with the last thing that anyone told him. And then we're going to be talking, or first, we're going to be diving into Elon Musk's just most obvious, desperate bid to use the platform of Twitter and use all of his money to try and swing the election to his god emperor, Donald Trump, and possibly swing himself into a cabinet position. Very exciting. And then we're finally going to close out this show with, I'm calling it, what are we calling it? Final bids, final pitches. Kamala Harris, Donald Trump, what is your final pitch to the American people? We know what Kamala's is, less so what Donald's is. Again, last thing he heard. But if my guests were running these campaigns, what would they run on in the final 2 weeks that would put them out ahead? Oh, it's wonky, people. It's a wonky hour and change. Excited to have you here. If you're listening as a podcast, I apologize because I'm a lot better on the eyes than I am on the ears right now. But give this podcast 5 stars nevertheless. If you are watching, make sure to like and share the stream right now. Make sure to subscribe, ring the bell, let people know what you watch, and also never miss when we go live. Sometimes we do an impromptu live. Remember, we're live Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Wednesdays? Yes. Our bonus episodes, which are free to stream if you get there on time. But if you want to watch them back, you got to become a patron. Patreon.com/bitchuationroom is where you go to do that. Last week, we dug into, Ted Cruz's kink shame knows no depths, and now he may actually lose his seat to Colin Allred, a Democrat. Now, because we can't have anything nice, I'm assuming he's still going to win the seat, but it was really satisfying to see Colin Allred hand him his entire ass. And so we talked about that. And so don't miss it. We also, what else did we look into? Oh God, Trump on Katie Britt, Senator Katie Britt, who he can't help but sort of like slobber over, and all the rest. And added bonus, 20% off merchandise. Again, all the t-shirts and the bags and the stickers, the Frantifa shirts, situationroom.com. You get 20% off of that. You also get 60% off the print version of the American Prospect magazine, which I write for every single edition. There's a new edition out right now. And I'm going to sort of give you my thesis and what I wrote for it. So, but you should still subscribe. It's wonderful. In addition to AMA perks, we are going to schedule the AMA for this Friday. Everybody, Friday after the Fantastic Friday, in which I'm going to be interviewing Greg Palast, longtime journalist and voting rights activist who has a new documentary called Vigilantes Inc., America's New Vote Suppression Hitmen. So he's going to be joining me on Friday, and then right after that, we're going to do the AMA. So send me those questions. Again, I'll post that link real soon. And without further ado, everybody, get your bitch caps on. This is What Are You Bitching About? So, I am angry at a lot of things, but in the morning, I have hope, and in the evening, I have fear. I don't know if anyone else rolls like that. That's the way I roll. I'm a morning person. So I've come to the conclusion that there is a very strong possibility that Kamala Harris will lose this election. By every fault of her own, and the Democratic Party's own, and the fact that this is a campaign that's cozying up to Dick Cheney more than, young voters and voters of color specifically, and more on that in a second, but more zooming out, because the Democrats broadly have staked our entire democracy on the ability to win this election. What do I mean by that? Well, the opponent, Donald Trump, is a literal felon who has been convicted of 2 crimes that we know of, but he's got a lot more in the hopper. 1, falsifying business records in the state of New York, and 2, raping E. Jean Carroll. And yet, he is still running. The other cases include light things like, I don't know, inciting a riot and an insurrection against the U.S. Capitol in efforts to overturn the last election. And so what I am bitching about right now is that the Justice Department, specifically Merrick Garland, because he wanted to be so methodical / slow walked the investigation into the most obvious and the most disqualifying of all of Donald Trump's crimes, even the ones that we don't know about. I mean, right? But that was what happened on January 6th. And Merrick Garland has been slow walking it. He did slow walk it, and now it's in obviously Jack Smith's hands. And what do you know? What happened in January 2021 is now going to be litigated by just the American people. Just you and your QAnon conspiracied aunt who waited under a bridge in Dallas and drank jungle juice for JFK Jr. to come back. Like, this is what's happened. And so I'm mad that while the right has had a decades-long plan to coup this country and take it over and have successfully done that, the institutions, the sort of, there's no left in this country. The institutions of democracy, be they, moderate Republicans to conservative Democrats, just, lifetime bureaucrats, have totally abdicated their duties. And now, yes, we have somehow Donald Trump running yet again. And I just want to name how utterly batshit that is, and how completely ridiculous that is in the greatest democracy on earth, that this is what is happening. And you know, you can see the way the coup is complete because it's been done through the judiciary. Because in the meantime, states like Colorado and Maine tried to get Donald Trump off of the ballot. Hey, illegal under the Constitution, Article 14, Section 3. You can't run for office if you aided and abetted insurrectionists. And the Supreme Court, handpicked by said insurrectionists, were like, nah, you can't do that. You got to keep them on the ballot. So here we are. Once again, how the fuck are we here? But it does not help that this election has, honestly, Kamala Harris running in it for the Democrats as the one salve for any kind of accountability for Donald Trump's crimes, because again, he needs the office in order to stay out of jail. And here is author Naomi Klein, who put it very, very succinctly and beautifully around the issue that we've been talking about, obviously, for over a year now, which is the issue of Gaza and the base, and let alone the base, the majority of the American electorate that does not want to send a single more dollar to the state of Israel.
I am not a fan of Harris's campaign, the choices she's made. I think she's running an extremely high-risk, dangerous campaign because she is trying to win without the base. And she's sending a message to that base that, sorry, I'm more interested in Liz Cheney and Dick Cheney and getting Republicans than I am interested in listening to Palestinians, to Muslims, to Arabs, to the left generally, to the anti-war forces. She's told us we're irrelevant. And Trump is telling us that he's going to round us up.
She's told us we're irrelevant, and Donald Trump has told us we're going to round them up, you up. And that is so perfect and succinct, and I wholeheartedly agree. To me, there is little comparison on the domestic front, even on the international front between these two. I absolutely think that Kamala Harris is a president I would like to fight against, more so than Donald Trump, who, is like, it's a run over a protester day. Let's go. It's totally great. If a protester blocks a bridge, you should throw them off that bridge. So there is no contest. However, yes, the signs that Kamala Harris has been giving her base is, shh, pipe down now. We're going to win this. But are you? Because we're going to look at some of the states here, and it is not clear, and even people in Kamala Harris's own administration are campaign are saying, we don't know if we got this. In fact, this is very close, and we might not got this. So I'm angry at all of that. I'm angry that we're here. I'm angry at everything. I will be forever lady in pussy hat screaming that the right likes to make fun of. But I just wanted to name these things. This is not the tool that I would fight Trumpism with. This is not the strategy I would fight Trumpism with. But here we are, 2 weeks before the election, and this is who and what we've got. And I'll tell you right now, even though I said all that, if I didn't have a kid and I were able to, I would get my ass to a swing state and I would knock doors. I know that sounds kind of pathetic, but I would. It doesn't actually sound pathetic. I think it sounds pretty tight. Even though I don't think that Kamala Harris deserves this because of the way the campaign's been run, I do think that we all deserve this because of what the alternative could mean. And I also think it is the best thing to actually eventually bring some amount of peace to Palestine rather than the full annexation of the West Bank. So much more thoughts. I'm pissed. I'm tired. And before I bring in my guests, I apologize. There's nothing that gets me to sleep when I can't sleep because I'm up thinking about all the, whether I stay in a second Trump administration, whether I try to leave. Do we go to Canada? Where would we go? Nowhere, really. I like to pop a little gummy. That's right. Pop a gummy, or actually my preferred is the tincture of Sunset Lake CBD. They have these amazing sleep gummies that have CBD, CBN, and melatonin in them. They're actually about to come out with new gummies that have no melatonin, which a mí me gusta, because I like their tinctures that have just CBD and CBN. They relax the body and the mind. Sometimes some sleep aids, and again, all natural. Some sleep aids are like, oh, that worked on the mind, or oh, that worked on the body. But the two together, that's the sweet spot for me. SunsetLakeCBD.com is where you go to get 20% off your entire order with the coupon code FRANTIFA. That's right, FRANTIFA to get 20% off your order. Support them. They're obviously awesome. Craft CBD, vertically integrated, no pesticides. And there's so much more than just tinctures and gummies. Check it out. I'm really into their lotion as well. And before I still bring in my guests, let me just tell you all, given my mood, I decided I'm not going to stream the election live, the election results. It will probably take a while to find out the results anyway. I will be streaming that Tuesday, November 5th during the day, so don't worry. And I will also see about doing an earlier stream on Wednesday, a bonus stream, because your girl is going to go to New York City, specifically Brooklyn, New York, and be part of the Majority Report's live election show, which you can stream. You can watch live. I just need to be surrounded physically by people who are cool, who are like going to be able to have good politics with me. Not that I wouldn't be able to do that virtually, but you know what I'm saying? I need to get drunk IRL. Like I need that for me. And I hope you need that for you. I encourage you to organize, parties or people or whatever you need to do. And you can have the Majority Report stream on in the background. So that's what I'll be doing. It'll be fun as shit. So holler at that stream. But don't forget to give this YouTube channel a little bit of love. I'm going to shut up now and bring in my guests. I'm going to bring both of them in. Let me just make sure I got. She's a stand-up comedian, a writer. You've seen her on Dropout TV, and she was a former writer with Love It or Leave It on Crooked Media. Please welcome Pallavi Gunalan.
Hello, it's me, a bitch.
It's me, a bitch. I had a really long wind up, but Pallavi, what are you bitching about? Your first time in the bitchuation room. You got an extra stank and like sore, Francesca. So what are you bitching about, girl?
Okay, here's the thing. I am bitching about shit. And I live in, doxing myself, Hollywood. And I have 2 rescue dogs because I'm a goddamn hero. And I walk them in my neighborhood. And my neighborhood is filled with poop and glass on the ground and chicken bones, which are very bad for dogs. And I'm really frustrated because I also volunteer at a dog rescue. Shout out Hit Living Foundation. And we keep having issues with being able to put especially large dogs, rescuing large dogs, because everybody keeps saying, amongst all these other issues with breeders, there is no ethical breeding, et cetera, they don't have space. They don't have like room in their apartments. They're like studio 1-bedroom apartments, people who do want to rescue. Right. And I'm having the same issue with like there being so much trash on the streets. Like we don't have yards because of the housing crisis, and it's affecting like rescues, like dogs and stuff now.
I read that LA County is sad to say, but euthanizing an incredible number of dogs and cats.
Yeah, it's horrific.
It's really sad.
We constantly get notified that there's like 40 puppies in Barstow in the desert or somewhere. And we have to, like, during the hottest part of the summer, we had to go just drop cooling mats because we didn't have enough fosters. We didn't have enough people able to like take care of them. And it's all these like litters that like breeders are putting out there. And like the way they mistreat the moms is horrific. But I think it's all connected. It is all connected.
Does it come back to poop?
It comes back to poop. This is my conspiracy theory. It all comes back to poop. It is like the housing crisis and capitalism and people doing desperate things and not being able to like take care. People can't neuter their pets because they can't afford it. There's like cats all up in my street. It's all for pet lovers, for rich white pet lovers, please. Pay taxes for the pets. If you distribute the wealth, then that'll trickle down to all the doggies you can't take care of. Okay.
And it's also sort of an argument for like green spaces.
Yes.
And where people don't have them.
Yes.
I also feel like apartment complexes, there's always the green spaces. They're always kind of like, why does no one use them? Like, I feel like in condos and stuff, do people use them or is
So
that,
there is like a swimming pool in my apartment complex that I have never used because I've heard tell of creepy people on the first floor.
dude, this is what I'm saying.
So I'm like, but also,
Let's be real, creepy men. Let's fucking be specific. There's no woman who's like, hey guys. No, it's a fucking creepy guy that means you
With the
can't go into
binoculars.
a pool when it's like 100 degrees outside.
yeah.
And
also,
it's hot as shit in October in LA. Sorry, y'all. I mean, don't be jealous. It's bad.
It's pretty bad. Here's also a dystopian feature of this. I have been renting private yards because I can't take my dogs to dog parks. They're too like dangerous and my dog gets like dominant and stuff. I've been renting private yards on a website, which is like people with houses charging people who can't afford houses to use yards because there's no third-party green space, but I have to do it. Otherwise, my dogs don't get to run. So it's like the rich keep getting richer.
Shit.
They're literally
That's
just inside their
fucking
house
wild.
and they're earning like $30 an hour just being in their house.
Just a
There's people
green
renting
space.
it.
I've rented
Just to rent
rich
a yard.
people's. I've rented rich people's pools.
Yeah, you can rent pools, you can rent apartments, you can rent yards, you can rent houses. You're just giving rich people more. I'm paying.
You can just rent
That's
their
crazy.
fridge. Could I like
Yeah.
rent your fridge and like eat today? Thanks.
Could I rent your family and like
can
be
I-
put in the will, please? Please? Can you put me in a trust because you trust me?
I love this. It's a great thing to bitch about. Everybody, we advocate for more green space and also try to adopt if you can. Cats take up
Yes.
less space. I will just say that. But kittens will fuck your shit up. Anyway, let's bring in our other guest. I'm so excited to have him back. You know him from What We Do in the Shadows. He's the creator also
I
of Comedy
love
Central's
it.
The President Show. And he hosts, I think, a daily show on Twitch called Coffee with Tony, which is bizarre and wonderful. Please welcome Anthony Atamanuik.
Hey, I was just came back from poolside. I was leering out. I was leering out of my window, checking
It's
out.
ground floor Gary.
Yeah, it's ground
Hey,
floor
it looks
Gary.
familiar.
I always use my left hand. You'll never see my right. So
I bet you're wondering why the knob to the pool is so slippery. That's me.
yeah, it's so disgusting. I mean,
Hi, Anthony.
Hi, thank you for having me on. I
Oh my
am,
God.
boy, I feel like daisy chaining for both of these. I was going to talk about tax exempt status for churches.
Oh, you should.
Oh my
Go ahead.
goodness.
I want that to end like immediately, like yesterday.
Yeah.
I follow Christian Nightmares on the old X, and but just today watching Trump at his Latino business conference, which really was a bizarre group prayer. That was the last 8 minutes of his supposed Latino business like leaders meeting, was this repeated thing that's now done a lot where people all surround him and lay hands on him.
Yes.
And I feel like, why are we allowing a legitimized tax exempt Al-Qaeda in this country? I really don't understand why they're not called Christian terrorists. It's a Christian
Yes.
terrorist organization. I don't know why we allow or continue to condone stories, fictional stories that are made up by people who didn't, by the way, made up in a period of time when we had lost contact historically with all of the mathematical and scientific advances of not only antiquity, but in particular in, what is now Iran and Iraq and part of Pakistan. That is where they knew how to measure the fucking planet 4,000 years ago.
Right.
Like, in other words, I don't get why, or it would be like believing Goodnight Moon. I mean, believing religious texts now is like believing that Star Trek's real. I wish Star Trek was real. Yeah, it'd be great. It's not. It's a fiction.
I will just defend Goodnight Moon a little bit. As a mom of a 2-year-old, that shit is realistic as fuck. There's like the clock in the room. It says it's like the total time it takes to put this little bunny to bed is like 2 hours. And you're like, that tracks.
Yes.
All right. If you're looking at that. But yeah, I mean, like, I haven't even incorporated, as, you know, like Matt and I are always like, should we create like a company? You know, like, what's a tax benefit? I guess we could like pay into Social Security through that, you know?
No, start a religion.
Right,
Start a
exactly.
religion.
I'm like, we should just start a religion.
Yeah,
Just
I mean,
go
Look, I
for
don't
it.
know what you guys said about Iran and all, but I'm gonna pray for you to my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ.
Oh, no.
Okay.
Ooh.
That's the real shocker of this this three
Reveal.
panel. That's a shocking reveal. I really, and I will couple that with everything you said earlier and about, you know, Harris and where they're failing or where they're, you know, whatever.
That's not what I said.
What? No, but I'm saying that
No,
I'm just
but
saying that
It's
like,
discombobulated, but yeah, go ahead.
yeah, well, it throws you off. That I am, I'm stunned that there is this level of organization we've allowed for 30 years of Christian radicals weaving their way into every part of government, and on that point, why there isn't. You know, we talk about robust third party. We talk about sort of secular movements that I wish they would just follow the playbook. I mean, just follow the right wing playbook. It'll take 30 years, but you will find your way into every sort of nook and cranny of the government. I mean, trying to grab the brass ring and become president, I don't get. I don't get Jill Stein. I don't get what the logic is. A punishment vote makes no sense. It doesn't achieve anything, and it only hurts your party.
Learned from her other runs. I mean, remember when she basically helped, you know, she got basically took as many votes away from Hillary Clinton as Clinton lost by in swing states in 2016, and then the Democratic Party started paying attention to the Green Party.
No.
Don't you remember that?
Yeah, I remember that.
They really learned. They really taught her a lesson. You know.
Yeah. Yeah.
I read about that in Goodnight Jill, actually.
Yeah, Goodnight Jill. Yeah, but that's also because the Democratic Party's never going to go left the way people want it to.
No.
So it's better to figure out how to create a robust infrastructure, even if it's just to move, to force that party to move. So my big one, though, is why are we allowing religion? I mean, it drives everything. We talk about the genocide in Gaza and the overt. I mean, that is Zionism is a form of evangelical fundamentalism in Judaism. There's tons of Jews
and in
who don't-
Christianity.
I thought the largest
Christianity.
number of supporters are evangelical Christians.
Yes,
right?
exactly.
That's the craziest part. So I just am so tired of, in this era, I can't believe that you could take, with Musk and the tech guys and all their sort of weird religion association they have, you can go 100 years back and see the industrialists of that era union busting and having evangelicals go to these corporate offices and talk to these mavens of industry and go, listen, you don't even need to read the Bible. Just say you love Jesus. It's the same story 100 years ago. And the difference would be get rid of tax exempt status for churches. It would end basically a free ride for a fake, for a cloaked political action committee that we're not acknowledging as a political action
100%. And it's a way, I mean, it's the same thing that I don't think billionaires should exist. And we'll look into Elon Musk in a second, because this is what they fucking do. They're so bored. They have so much money, and you can buy the political process. So they do. But the same thing, it's like, if you really are a cheap, selfish motherfucker, you join the church. You get involved in the Christian right, because you will save the most money and you will gain the most power. It is proven.
Yeah.
This is how all of your followers become Christian now.
Yeah. I'm not
like,
joking.
"We'll do
When
it."
I've thought about it. I've had a few moments in my career in the last year where I've been like, should I start a church? I need money, man.
That is the most Hollywood shit I've ever seen. We're like, no, I'm not going to become a teacher. I'm going to make a church.
Yeah. Improv's halfway there already. So.
I know, basically a cult, right?
Oh my God, the Church of Improv. Yes. Okay.
You could do it.
All right, guys, let's get into our stories. This is the week where. Okay, this is the week where Elon Musk really reached final form. Just as another little
like he looks because he hasn't finished reaching final form. He's like molting right now.
Yes,
That's why he
yes,
looks
yes.
like that? Okay.
Oh yeah. He's finally there. Now he is just fully like another MAGA piggy. Who some thought was like, oh no, he's like a tech guru genius guy. And yeah. And then he bought Twitter for $44 billion and he swore that it was just gonna be a place for free speech or Holocaust memes. And now it's like, oh no, this is what it's for. It is to stump for Trump, to try and get himself probably a cabinet position. Remember, he's got like, I believe something like $14 billion worth of government contracts working with many different departments, obviously including NASA, through SpaceX and through Tesla. He is now offering $1 million a day to anyone from a swing state who signs a petition about gun rights or the Constitution. It doesn't matter. It doesn't fucking matter. Here it is.
So I have a surprise for you. Which is that we're going to be awarding $1 million to randomly to people who have signed the petition every day from now until the election.
Okay, if I had a MAGA hat, I would have put it on when we cut back.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, give me $1 million. I'll say whatever you want. I don't care.
I signed up to the thing. I signed up. I was like, give me that $1 million, man. And now all I get is Trump texts.
Bro.
No, I'm kidding.
You've got, I think.
Have you guys
Well,
seen
first,
on
Go
Twitter
ahead.
too? Like, has Twitter turned into like, they're like Trump movies being like advertised at me nonstop?
Oh, yeah.
Have you seen that?
Yeah.
I'm like, why? I'm like, scroll faster. I can't get rid of it.
Well, it's shrunk. I've noticed in the last 2-3 weeks that the visibility of what you're seeing is shrunk even more. Like,
yeah,
it feels like someone who is having macular degeneration of their social media observation. Like it's just this narrow little pinhole.
a beautiful musical lyric.
Thank you very much.
Now, in order to like log in, it'll just be like, give us your social security number.
Yeah.
And your
You
address.
guys don't have
like,
to do
okay.
that. You don't have to. You don't have to do that to
oh,
log
no.
in.
What?
Oh,
Wait,
yeah.
hold on. Let me check your Twitter. Oh, you're selling cheap MacBooks along with Claudia
that's actually
Conway.
me. That's me.
Oh, okay. I want to say that I really think we need to consider, and this is going to be roundly rejected the second I say it, but I will say we might need to consider ranking neurodivergence and what positions of power you can hold in this country.
Okay, eugenics.
Like, yeah, like
just-
I think we
it's
might
such
need
an
to do some
affront.
eugenics because, like, this mother. I'm not really
But
serious.
that's,
But
I
know what I
obviously you're
mean.
joking. I'm joking. I make fun of him all the time because obviously, we are in a time where people are sometimes self-diagnosing, but TikTok diagnosing themselves,
yeah,
with neurodivergence, and it's fine. It's good. I do think we should talk about it more.
absolutely.
But we're also like weirdly supposed to. This is the guy who's like leading the alpha male charge, a guy who cannot speak to save his life, is terrible on camera, terrible interviewer. And yeah, it's like it has Asperger's. He's like I don't know if he's talked about it, but he clearly does. And it's like, you're the guy who's like telling us about social Darwinism and having as many kids as possible. You're the fucking guy who's procreating all the time. Shut up.
Well, this is the problem. It's like libertarianism, which was just essentially, I think libertarian was the word for autism before they had it. And I think that like,
I need to defend my autistic friends. And
no, I'm joking.
mental family.
I have a lot. I think, my outside of my joke, I do think that there is a problem when someone who I don't think he has the capacity to register or understand beyond his own understanding of how he sees the world. He doesn't seem to have a broader appreciation of other people's perspective. And that concerns me. If we have a collective society that requires us to have an empathetic or sort of emotional roadmap that we're all following,
Sure.
that even if you are not following that, we've got to learn that roadmap because this guy, who, by the way, is nothing more than a con man. He is not a genius.
He reminds me of the monorail guy from The Simpsons.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, it is. We just talked about Idiocracy with producer Paige, who had just seen it, and I only saw it like a year ago. This is Idiocracy, getting money to, and here's the question, is it legal? Because it's not actually to vote, but take a look. People are winning. This is day 3. I don't have the video for the winner. Here's day 1 winner.
I came here to see Elon Musk and support Trump to be the next president, and just see everyone in person, attend a great rally, and see a lot of patriots together.
I thought he was wearing a Domino's outfit.
He does kind of look. He does sort of look like he was on the job.
He does look like a delivery guy.
I don't have to deliver.
What about the
if you win,
taxes
do
on
you
this?
have to make the video? Can I win and not ever be in public again?
Yeah, you couldn't be. You'd have to have new friends and shit. All right, let's
Rally
You
and,
gave me-
see a lot of patriots together.
John just won $1 million for signing this petition.
When he called me, the first thing that happened, I screamed, and it was $1 million, and I was pumping my check in the air, pumping my arms in the air, and I went up, and actually meeting Elon, I kind of forgot about the money for a little bit, since he's such an influential figure.
I forgot about the money because I was meeting Elon.
Yeah,
I
because I was
just
meeting
see
this
Elon.
junk ass dork.
I would also forget about the money because his figure is strange to me. So
Yeah, he's got a junk ass and a big pumpkin head. And again, he made his money riding on American infrastructure paid by taxpayers. He has never invented a thing in his life. He doesn't even have advanced degrees. He's not a genius. And I would say that Democrats and mainstream media figures, including some of our most beloved comedy talk show hosts, have all built Elon Musk. They all had him on their show. They all did no vetting of him.
But he was so good on SNL.
Yeah, I know. Him and Trump, the 2 top ones. But my problem is that it's so upsetting to see him this way, to see this all happening and the lie about him. And now it's like, oh, he really isn't a genius. He's just a maniac or whatever. But this is sort of to what you were talking about, Harris, too, is Democrats built this boat. Like, Democrats partly built this boat, but not even Democrats, but the quote unquote liberal ecosystem that exists on media. Everyone contributed to making this.
Every time there's a SpaceX launch, everyone's like, oh, remember when we fucking mainstream news covered the SpaceX launch wall to fucking wall?
We do
cares?
that not just domestically, though. We build our enemies overseas. We're very well tuned to this.
Great at doing that.
Yes.
And then everyone's like, everyone's trying to do a Liz Cheney, but how did this happen? Kill your dad. That's how you solve this. Anyway,
do you hear that, Baron?
Yeah, exactly.
Huge
Baron.
fan of the Bituation Room.
Well, I did have a little bit in the last Trump show I did where his uncle, that Trump's uncle worked for, went to MIT and was the person who was in charge of the War Department of seizing Tesla's papers. Do you know this? So when Tesla died, he's the one who actually went to the apartment and collected all his papers and brought them to the Pentagon to lock them away or to study them or whatever. This is Trump's uncle. So I had a bit in my show where I say how Trump's uncle, took Tesla's papers and then disappeared in a flash of light. And then the next time he saw him was him on a roof with a rifle scope in Butler.
Oh my God.
Which I think is the best story, is that Trump's uncle realized that he needed to go through time to stop his nephew.
Take him out.
Yeah.
Should have embodied a better shot. JK. So, okay, there's another winner, and there's a few things that she says that I love.
Christine Fischel, I signed the petition.
Now, this woman is in a Trump Vance shirt. Everyone needs to know if you think it's not partisan.
I took the time to vote early, and I think everyone should too.
She just earned $1 million.
Kirsten
The
Dunst?
petition is fabulous because
Kirsten Dunst.
free speech, for the right to bear arms, these are things that we all have to remember as Americans, how important they are, and not to take them for granted. So I think it's a way to actually bring people back to that, and signing the petition really cements it.
What happened
City
to
of my
Kirsten
seat when
Dunst?
he came on stage, it was
This
so
is crazy.
exciting. He did the jump like he did at the Butler rally. It was just really fun to see.
You guys, this is the part. He did the jump. Listen again. Listen again.
Really cemented. Sitting in my seat when he came on stage, it was so exciting. He did the jump like he did at the Butler rally. It was just really fun to see.
So when I heard that motherfuckers thought that jump made him look cool, I could not believe it. But it's true. People thought the jump
was cool.
The little like, I'm wearing a large, even though I'm an XL, and you can see my, little fupa.
Yeah.
That people thought that was cool.
People don't think that's cool. They think anything that goes viral that has to do with anyone they're devout to is going to be cool because they have to just accept it. They don't think if anybody else did that, if Kamala Harris did that jump, they'd be like, what a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
What is she running on trampolines? But if it's just like their weird cultish behavior.
And then hearing my name called was the surprise of a lifetime. It was so exciting. Like, I don't win things. So to win $1 million is crazy. So I was super excited, and I still am.
I mean, but it's kind of weird because like I'm already a millionaire because like this is actually my business here. It's my restaurant. It's a chain. But no, I don't know. But she just seems like really unfazed. I feel like she's like, I mean, I did charter a private jet to go storm the Capitol on January 6th. And this time I'll have a little bit more funds to do that. So that's nice. So is this legal? Very important question. Somehow we can never get our minds around.
It is if he gives it to me.
Yes, exactly.
Pallavi says if she wins, it's legal. Again, it's a petition created by America PAC, encourages voters in 6 swing states, Georgia, Nevada, Arizona, Michigan, Wisconsin, North Carolina, to sign this petition in favor of free speech and the right to bear arms.
Thank God.
Those who refer another voter signs up, those who refer another voter who signs up are promised a sum of $47 each for each voter. Higher sums of $100 or more for signing or referring are offered in Pennsylvania, the battleground state that both Trump and Harris believe that could decide the election. A few attorneys, real quick. Okay, so there's $1 million until November 5th. 11 attorneys and public officials who've served in Republican administrations penned a letter on Tuesday urging the Department of Justice to investigate Mr. Musk's offer. We're aware of nothing like this in modern political history. Yeah, welcome to 2024, motherfuckers. Like, we've been doing this every single time. It's like, oh, I've never seen it before. Well, wait, it's here.
I think it's really important that we recognize what the petition is about, which is free speech. So no more banned books and the right to bear arms for all minorities. So I think that's great.
Yes.
I think that's beautiful.
I agree. I think it's amazing. Finally, the GOP is realizing that, Black, Latino, South Asian gun ownership needs to go up in this country. And that I just agree.
Door to door selling.
The asterisk is like only Black women can be armed.
Here's the 3 things. Is the money one? I question whether this $1 million is really going to these people or if this is all just one big larger scam. So that's one.
Okay.
I do want to just say that it would not be the first time that you have 2 of the most masterful con men in the world, both standing there lying. So who knows? But 2, I love the unprecedented. The whole thing of unprecedented is because the justice system is for poor people and Black and brown people. That's what the justice system is for. It's to take care of those folks and lock them up enough that they then become cyclical criminals because there's no mental health support. There's no training. There's no job training. There's no forgiveness for youthful indiscretion. That's what our legal system is for. And then for white people or rich people, it's different. It's unprecedented and it's curious and we don't know what to do. So that's we have to just accept that about the United States.
I've been in debates where it's like, going after Trump for his crimes makes this country a banana republic. Anyway, this millionaire is offering $1 million or billionaires offering $1 million every single day to anybody who signs a petition. Like, it is idiocracy, guys. Like, it's just like cash grab.
I don't think we should blame Elon and Trump for this. I really think Mr. Beast is going to release a YouTube video where he's behind all of this.
Well, that does. I mean, Merrick Garland's like, hold on, let me just get my book and see if the law is correct. I'll get back to you. I want to
was him
say
at 6 years old, Merrick Garland, by the way.
I think that there's a larger thing that's outside. In a way, I think you're right in this sense about saying Trump and Musk and sort of is Mr. Beast behind it, in the sense that we are also watching a slow motion, and I don't even know if it's slow motion, national, international psychosis that is happening because our media landscape has changed so much that we are not acknowledging that we are digesting, all of us are digesting this shit all the time, rapid fire. The fact that we know, oh yeah, Mr. Beast does giveaways. Like, we just know it's baked in the way that we know people used to know Cronkite was on at 6 or whatever. Yeah. So what's frightening is that the landscape of what we see as a given, right, is insanity. So our bedrock, like our foundation now is so warped and fucked. Right? Like, I know you're going to talk later about this, but like the idea of why is there such support of Trump right now? Supposedly 28% of black men are supporting Trump is the number that's being touted right now. Well, because you need to take the white off of supremacy and put fright supremacy, might supremacy, whatever you want to talk about. It's not that white supremacy doesn't exist. But as someone who's around those people when I was younger,
what do you mean those people?
White people. Those folks want nothing more than to sanitize their message to the degree that people of color join the movement. That has always been the objective of white supremacy. I mean,
it's expanding whiteness to everyone except for black people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I just think that like what's happening is something which, and also the toxicity of masculinity is reaching a pitch that is so disturbed. I mean, I don't know if anyone can make it through a Kill Tony, but it's like when you see what's happening in comedy, what's happening
on 2 episodes when I was like very new in comedy.
Well, whatever, God help you. But like, but like,
I
didn't know. I know. Listen, what I'm trying to say though is that yes, I'm sure people I know have been on there. It's that larger world. I find it interesting that Lorne Michaels offered Shane Gillis Trump this season, because I think that there was this belief that Trump's going to win, and we need to have a guy who is more accessible to an audience. And so that should tell you everything you know about where everyone sees the landscape right now.
Fuck Lorne Michaels. But anyway, let's move on. That is a really good theory, and I hate that.
Thank you.
But we got to move on because we got to talk about Donald Trump's economic plans, guys. Okay.
The concept of a plan.
He's got concepts of a plan. He's rolling it out. There are 3 now we know obviously Donald Trump wants tariffs. He's been talking about tariffs this, tariffs that, and he finds a way to bring it into everything here. But we're talking about 3 aspects that aren't tariffs: minimum wage, federal taxes, and Social Security. And what's going on? What's Trumponomics for all of these areas of our economy? Donald Trump, as we know, decided to work a 15-minute shift at a McDonald's. And as he was there, standing outside of the drive-through window, he's asked by reporters, hey, now that you've worked a minimum wage job, do you believe in raising the minimum wage? And watch how he brilliantly answers.
Minimum wage should be raised.
Well, I think these people work hard. They're great. And I just saw a process that's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing to see. These are great franchises and produce a lot of jobs, and it's great. And great people working here, too.
But minimum wage is recently increased.
But it's great. I mean, it's great jobs. These are great people, and it's great.
Wait, but also people didn't really go to it. Like, it was a setup, right? Like,
it was my supporters
allowed to go or something. Yeah, so he didn't even really do
I think they did. They did rehearsals also for who was driving. It's just amazing.
Yeah.
So he has nothing to say about the minimum wage. Of course, he doesn't support the minimum wage. The right has been freaking out that in some areas, fast food workers have been offered $25, $30 an hour because they can't. After the pandemic, it's like nobody wants to be, here put their lives at risk and mistreated for, $12, $7.25 an hour, which is still the minimum wage somehow in the year 2024. But let's move on.
Sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I feel like when you're saying that you don't support the minimum wage, what you're saying is you don't want people to live. You don't think some people deserve to live. And I think people really don't there's so many people who don't understand the impact of what that means. Like, you don't want people to be able to feed their kids because of a job that they have. You think that they should starve. And I think they need to recognize that.
100%. I mean, the fact that he didn't you prep for this? Like, that was the question the media was going to ask you.
I mean, I'll say that this part I don't understand. The guy has been around for 9 fucking years. He is not prepped, doesn't know what's going on, says he doesn't know what the minimum wage is. Yeah, he's doing improv.
He's in church of improv.
The worst part, I said this on Coffee with Tony earlier, but it's so interesting to me that in October of 2016, I think the 7th was when Grab 'Em by the Pussy came out. And then in October 18th, he talked about Arnold Palmer's penis. So he's moved puss to prick. He has done essentially the same routine over and over and over. He's running his own. The idea that he even cares about policies, he's like, can I get in there, pardon people, and make sure I get out of my lawsuits? And then these folks, the 2025 folks, will come in and they'll do all the gutting of the government and whatever. He's not running anything. The only way he's running things is people convincing him he's running things and then getting him to rubber stamp what he's doing. So this idea that he's running on anything or there's any objective or is like the predicate makes no sense.
I will vote for him if he got the McDonald's ice cream machine to work.
Yeah, I support Donald Trump. I should say that.
That being said, I support him. Well, he is out with the people, and specifically Black Americans. Here he is in a barbershop, and it is not AI, but on the economy, he's throwing everything at the wall, including what if we just abolish federal taxes?
Do you think it's possible to find a way to eliminate federal taxes?
There is a way.
And how do you feel about it?
In the old days, when we were a smart country, in the 1890s and all, this is when the country was relatively the richest it ever was. It had all tariffs. It didn't have an income tax.
Yes, sir.
Okay? Now we have income taxes, and we have people that are dying. They're paying tax, and they don't have the money to pay the tax. No, in the old days, 1890, 1880, we had so much money, they had to set up committees, blue ribbon committees, how to spend our wealth. We had no idea how to spend it with so much money. Then we went to the income tax system, and the rest is sort of history. But no, there is a way. I mean, if what I'm planning comes out, it's a great question, by the way.
Everyone could attain the American
sophisticated
dream.
Cat,
Everyone could attain the American dream if it wasn't for the high cost, the burden of high taxes, and we're taxed at every step of the way. Yeah. When we make it, when we spend
regulations.
it.
And regulations. So I cut more regulations in 4 years than any other president by 4 times.
Wow.
Now there's giant listeria outbreaks because of it. Also.
Yes, exactly. Now you can't buy a frozen waffle. All the regulations.
Get your boar's head meat complete with disease, with yellow fever, bologna.
I really hope he walked out of that barbershop with a sick fade. Like, don't you?
You're a cool cat, Coolio.
You're a sophisticated cat.
You're an alley cat. You're what are you? By the way, great job reading that question I gave you.
So this is in the Bronx. This is amazing to me. Like, him saying sophisticated cat is just like, it's just like, you're one of the articulate ones, right?
This is the Hillary hot sauce situation.
So here's the thing to remember is like Donald Trump paid $750 in federal income tax in the year 2016.
Good for him.
Who among us, right? Exactly.
Good for him.
When is the last time your fucking federal income tax has been that fucking low? So it is disgusting. And then I just want to bring back, I did this deep dive into this ProPublica report that came out a couple of years ago. Everyone should look at it. They got a bunch of tax documents dumped on them about the riches. This is around the tax discussion when it comes to Trump. But the amount of taxes that billionaires pay and people like Trump pay compared to that guy in the barbershop is wildly different, because let's remember, when they operate at a loss, they can use that against whatever income tax they might own. And many of them keep their personal incomes deliberately low so they don't have to pay. That's totally separate from the wealth and the assets that they have, right? Yeah. So here's Jeff Bezos on the left-hand side. He paid, in the span of a decade,
$1.40.
He paid $1.4 billion on $127 billion. Meanwhile, if you were lucky enough in the last decade to, let's say, your wealth grew, your personal wealth grew, you had $89,000. Okay, that's not even that much. Your wealth grew by $89,000. This is an average household, according to ProPublica. You paid $142,000 in taxes, far more than your wealth grew. So,
because taxes are class management. They are not actually about funding the government. I mean, Stephanie Kelton, in her book, The Deficit Myth, which everyone should read.
I fall asleep to it every night.
Yeah, and I love Stephanie.
I try to get through it.
She makes the very strong point that not only running deficits, but even the notion of our tax system. It's not like we pay money. It's not like I send my $100 to the government and the government goes, thanks for that $100. Let me put it, for this missile to go kill people.
Yep.
We make the money. It's an arbitrary system. So this is about class management. It is not actually about how we fund our government. We fund our government by running deficits, by inventing money, and by using our resources, both to export resources, but also consume from other countries. That's where our money comes from.
That money, we subsidize the rich.
Yes.
Let's remember, we are all subsidizing the rich.
Because they run everything.
I also think it's like why. You have that like income washing that's really good for the common man to think that they don't actually they aren't actually greedy, or like Warren Buffett's wearing a regular watch and living in his old house because he is like actually a man of the people, and it's like he is never going to ever have to live paycheck to paycheck, and he wants you to think that he will.
No.
Warren Buffett's the one guy who's like, please tax me more though. Do it. Not that much, but tax me more.
Well, but I will say about that thing, and Warren Buffett does say that, Warren Buffett also could voluntarily pay as many taxes as he wants.
Totally.
And all these wealthy people could pay what they want. And you could argue that even from the Gilded Age, and I don't mean the hit show that I love, but I mean the... which I used to hate shows like that, and then
second season really picks up. Like first season, I was like, I'm good, and then second season, just like.
Well, the plot of the Gilded Age season 1 is: will the old woman cross the street and go in another house? That's the entire story.
Spoiler.
Will she go to the house? Will she not go?
That was the entirety of the first joke in history. Okay, will this chicken cross the road? So don't act like it's a weak plot. Okay.
What? Okay, fine. It's one of our fundamental storylines, but I do think that the wealthy in this country who run everything and run the show and run the thing we're streaming on and are worshiping weird techno libertarian people who believe that the poor should be made into goo. I mean, go look at the shit that these people. There's a guy out in Silicon Valley trying to build a private city. Sure. And the thing they always leave out is the collective resources. This goes back to my Musk thing with his zip.com, his first thing he did, zip to zip or whatever it was, that what it is that there are white people can exploit government resources to make money, and people of color are called out for exploiting resources, even if they had nothing to do with it, right? Because, obviously we paint the
entitlements.
Picture,
they're all entitlements.
But we also paint the picture as if every person of color is somehow on an entitlement, which is this other layer of bullshit.
Sure.
That there isn't this robust, go to Kalamazoo, Michigan. The most robust class in Kalamazoo, Michigan is the South Asian class. It's not the white people in fucking
That's right,
Kalamazoo.
bitch.
That's right. From Lahore to Islamabad, baby. That
this white man knows too much.
That's because I'm married. I'm married in.
Oh,
so that's my education
welcome,
comes
brethren.
from there. But that's the thing. That's the thing that we have to realize. We're all swimming in their pool. Which the last thing I'll say about this
It's an above ground pool.
Is it though?
It is an above ground pool. That's the most gross part. At least my working class family had an in-ground pool. But that, like, I will say, looking at the roadmap of everything we're talking about, and I'll leave it for the end just to bake on, is there a solution out of this that is like us playing by the rules? Or is there a need to break social norms to stop the momentum of what's happening
100%.
In the sense, like, maybe we need to encamp these people?
No. I definitely, I do think we should tax them out of existence.
That's what they're
look,
afraid of.
I'm inspired.
I know.
I mean, I'm inspired by like the people of Sri Lanka, like swimming in the presidential palace's pool, you know, when they like in massive protests, like I one day aspire to not pay for the use of the rich people's pool on an app, but actually just, you know, seize it. I mean, last week we talked about abolishing rent as like a radical reshift and thinking of tenants' rights that we need to really utilize.
Tell me about it.
So, but briefly, because Trump got a little wonky there. You don't usually hear Trump get wonky, but he talked about tariffs and talked about how in the 1890s, we had like, it was great. There was lots of tariffs. And that's because there is a subsect of Republicans, specifically Karl Rove, that loves President McKinley, the 25th president, who raised tariffs by 20%.
Also dodged a bullet.
Okay, I didn't know that. Because I only researched him for
married
this.
a terrible person. That's what he means.
Exactly. And it provoked an international round of protectionism that deepened the Great Depression that only was reversed again by FDR when he finally brought tariffs back down. So all of that, again, he keeps on talking about tariffs. It does not work. It affects working people and all people more than anyone else. We have to move on because I want to talk about the state of this race, guys. There was one more thing about Donald Trump. He's going to tank Social Security. Apparently, the insolvency under his plan would increase to like 6 years' time instead of like 11 years' time. Like the idea that Social Security isn't already like on the ropes, it's bad. But
we're like social insecurity, huh?
Oh, yeah. Bam!
Pew, pew, pew.
But they always, I will say that I read that one and I just went, I looked at it, I went, you know, I got to be fair play in this sense that there's always a party saying the other party is going to get rid of Social Security and it never happens and it always gets paid out. So yes, of course his thing would fuck things up. And you know, what it would mean was it wouldn't make Social Security insolvent. It would drive our deficits into the 20-30 trillion dollar range. So that's actually the thing that's even worse. And the guys in that barbershop, I want to say that men in particular, the thinking here with this don't pay taxes, if you go to a casino and you win money, let's say you go to a casino and you win on a slot machine and you win above the payout line, right? Which is $1,200. So let's say you win $5,000. The person, they'll come over and they'll say to you, you could pay the tax now, right? And take $3,700, or we can give you that $5,000 cold hard cash, and then we'll give you the slip for the tax, which I've seen people crumple up and throw in the garbage. So that is the thinking. The thinking there with most people who think like that is they don't want to, they're non-consequence thinkers. They just go, I want my money now. And I get it, because when I had no checking account, no credit cards, I couldn't open a bank account, couldn't do anything. I wanted my money now, and I didn't care about the next day. And so we do have to consider that all the issues we talk about, that Bernie talks about, all that is what's being reflected there, is a mentality that I understand. I was in that mentality that you only are, you know, if you're going to the Coinstar to like figure out how to pay a bill, which I did for many years, you don't care about whether you owe the government money. You don't care about tax. It's all abstraction. So it's a shame that that's the answer. You know?
No, of course, especially because it's just going to, again, siphon more money up to the ultra wealthy.
Yeah.
Let's talk about this election, y'all. It is the race to 270. Yes, between Kamala Harris and Donald Trump. Here is a lovely little interactive map from NBC News where we can sort of chart the doom live. But as we
the
know,
gray states are actually the non-binary ones, so that's really
yes,
cool.
That's right.
Yes, they're the most woke. Which is why they're running all these anti-trans ads in them. But okay, just briefly, as we know, there are two paths to victory for these candidates. One is winning the Rust Belt or the blue wall, or at least it was during Biden and Obama, and one is the Sun Belt. So the Rust Belt is Michigan, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin. Sun Belt, Arizona, Georgia, North Carolina, and Nevada. These are all the swing states. Kamala Harris, if she wins the blue wall, it's a wrap. It's over. She's got 270. But likely, according to some of her staffers, that's not looking so good. A senior official working on Vice President and Democratic presidential nominee Kamala Harris's campaign sounding the alarm. According to NBC News, 3 sources with knowledge of the campaign strategy say the campaign is worried that the blue wall could, at least in part, go red this November.
You're talking about North Carolina, though.
There's been a thought that maybe, no, this is about the blue wall. This is about
I saw
Pennsylvania, Michigan. Yeah, there's been a thought that Michigan or Wisconsin will fall off, a senior campaign official told NBC. The same source also warned that North Carolina, once touted by the Harris campaign as a serious pickup opportunity, may no longer be within reach. Of all the 7 battleground states, that one seems to be a little bit slipping away. And not that we give a shit about what he says, but Nate Silver's polling averages suggest Harris has exceedingly narrow leads over Trump in Michigan, 48.2% to 47.6%, Wisconsin 48.6% to 48%, while Trump holds an ever so slightly more impressive lead in North Carolina, 48.8% to 47.8%. So a whole percentage point, according to Silver's final polling average. Again, he had Joe Biden up by a lot more, and Kamala is not leading by nearly those margins. Again, Nate Silver's been wrong. Polling tends to be fairly conservative skewed. That 2022 red wave never materialized, but it
Don't
is
you talk about my nerd king like that. How dare you?
The Nate Silver. I think every Nate should get out of polling immediately.
There's another argument for my neurodivergent thing, by the way. Keep going.
God.
Oh
God!
I'll own it.
So many comments.
I'll own it.
And
I have many relatives of that persuasion.
Oh, does your uncle work at MIT too?
That persuasion.
TikTok diagnosed me as a baddie, so I don't know what you're talking about.
I also think I'm on the spectrum, and I'm saying that.
Well, obviously that's why you're saying it. We all are. We're comedians.
Yeah.
Here is the only person I trust at MSNBC. The person who let's be real, I think he's a closet lefty.
Rachel Maddow.
No, I think. By the way, your Maddow is so beautiful. I love your Maddow impression.
Wait, do your Maddow.
Oh God, I haven't done it in such a long time.
No, it's just.
Hi guys, it's me, Rachel Maddow. Let me tell you a little something about something that's bothering me a little bit today. That's I mean, it's not that
pretty good.
Yeah, I haven't done it.
Fine.
Yeah.
Your lips need to be a lot paler, but here you go.
Yeah.
Here's Steve Kornacki explaining how what the path to victory could look like for Kamala Harris and how it could come down to, yes, a split even electorate, meaning equal electors, delegates for each candidate.
Scenario for Kamala Harris that absolutely hinges on locking it down, and it would look like this. Split the battleground into 2, sort of north and south. The polling for Harris has been a little bit better in the northern tier of the battleground than in the southern tier. So this is all just for the sake of showing you this, but this is, how the parties are thinking about this as well. If Harris were to get Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, you could see we light them up blue and she gets to 270, the exact magic number. And then the polling's been a little bit better for Trump generally in the southern tier of battleground states. So if Trump were to get North Carolina, hey, he won it in 16 and in 20. If he were to get Georgia, if he were to get Arizona, and if he were to get Nevada, Now you see 270, 268. Doesn't get tighter than that, or does it? Because that is where the one electoral vote in Nebraska comes into play. Again, right now it's assumed to be Democratic, and in this scenario, it would be absolutely essential for Democrats to hang on to it, because obviously, if you call it up right there, see if we can call it up on the...
It doesn't work for him, but basically Nebraska splits their electoral votes, and so one usually will go to Dems.
Screen, and it is not popping up, but I'll show you.
Go right
it,
in, my
math
guy.
At home anyway. One less for Harris would be 269. One more for Trump would be 269. There's your 269, 269 tie. And the important thing is, if this ever is a tie, goes to the House. Every congressman doesn't get a vote, but every state gets a vote. And no matter which party controls the House, the overwhelming expectation is Republicans will have more state delegation. So a tie in baseball goes to the runner. A tie in the Electoral College almost certainly goes for Trump.
And then the country falls apart.
If
First of all, I don't think he needs the notebook. I think that's a crutch or a prop. But anyway,
no, he definitely needs that. He should be in the notebook. He's my crush.
Oh my God!
Oh my God!
Kornacki with his perfectly rolled up sleeves.
Wait, your husband makes a lot more sense right now.
Yeah, you're both coughing and sick.
Wow. First of all, you guys are on my show. I will remind you. And
Paige, can you just do a split screen of me and Tony?
Yeah. Yeah, we have things we want to talk about.
Yeah.
No, but it's not about how he looks, although like I'm not mad at it, but I do think he's a secret lefty. Like every single election night, you'll see it on November 5th. There will be a little bit of a wink and a nod to like, what the fuck are we doing, Harris? Like, what the fuck are we doing, Democrats? Like, let's move it. Let's build the base here. But of course, he's not a commentator. He's just in for the polling. But there you have it. So it's, again, must win blue wall and or some amalgamation of both the Sun Belt and the Rust Belt. But there is a scenario in which it could be tied 269 to 269.
Nice.
Which just like as a number... I feel like it looks like two people are 69ing and then one like jealous like third is like.
And then Walls is jerking off in the corner.
And and Trump is jerking off in the corner.
Oh no, Walls.
Why?
I don't want to
Trump's
think about
like he's more of a corner. He's more of a corner jerker. In my opinion.
No, he's so wholesome.
No, but
they always are.
You think the corner jerker? I feel like yes. It's like let them come, and I'll just.
Oh, you think that he's more giving.
Yes.
Yeah. Waltz is more of a giving lover than.
Absolutely. Waltz is a far more giving lover.
He's coaching. He's coaching from the corner.
Yeah. Come on, you can get up there. Come on, there.
Wait, did you see that video of him holding the cat? He's just like, "Can I please hold your pussy?" Please.
Oh boy. Guys, I'm trying to talk about strategy.
Well, first off, that's never going to happen. That
it
vote
hasn't
is
happened
solid
since 1800.
Yeah, that vote is solid in Nebraska.
we think a lot of things aren't going to happen. I have no.
You think it's solid for Trump?
That vote is solid for Democrat. Because it's essentially what city is that? And it's Sioux Falls or whatever. I don't know what.
Omaha.
Omaha. Oh yeah, Omaha. So like that's the Republicans tried to sue to change that just like 3 weeks ago. So they know that is like their little like attempt, because they know that would prevent the tie. And those guys are running, even though I think they now are excited about a potential lead, they are running to fight the battle after the election. So that was that gamesmanship there. But I personally,
Paige is saying that Omaha voted for Trump in 2016.
Well, that county specifically.
Yeah.
But and Paige is from Nebraska, so she would know.
Wait a minute. So they both voted?
Trump.
And Paige is voting for Trump.
Oh no, in 2016 though, but not in 2020.
But not in 2020.
I don't think 2016 is a good indicator now, because I think you have to look at things post-Roe in a different way.
100%.
And that was my question. My feeling is that here, I mean, I have nothing to weigh in that way, in the sense that I just know that if there was any law that interrupted my bodily autonomy in any way, there'd be no way I wouldn't go and vote. Like there'd be no, if you restrict, like men, in general, men are like, don't tell me what to do. So like, there would be no way. So my assumption is that there has to be an unreported, unacknowledged level of voting by women that is not factoring into these polls. And the second thing about the polling,
I think, wait, hang on, wait. I just on that point, I think that's a really good point. And that's when I feel, again, my morning self, my morning hope is I do think there are a lot of women who generally aren't as loud and obnoxious about how they're voting. And many of whom, no, not even, right? And many of whom are like breaking with their husbands.
I have a delay effect there,
they're breaking with their husbands to vote against Trump, and they're voting for Kamala Harris and absolutely voting for reproductive rights, right? Because they don't want to go back into the dark ages, and some of them remember what it was like. Some of them have, suffered miscarriages or had abortions or whatever it is. Like, to me, and this is the other thing, like there was a right-wing video, some right-winger going around college campuses interviewing young like 18-year-olds about who they're voting for.
Yeah, I saw that.
Let me tell you this. When I was first of all, I was protesting the Iraq War when I was 18, but like, young, I mean, I'm that old, but young people on college campuses, like in any given, like Carrie Bush, I don't know, I don't care, whatever, like young women aren't really fired up. This election cycle, you're seeing young women like, it's Kamala, it's Kamala, it's Kamala, it's Kamala. Why? Abortion, abortion, abortion. Like, this is the issue, and we're going to get to that in the end. But it's still really tight, you guys. I don't know.
I think what you said about the women voting without their husbands knowing, I think a lot of people are trying to, I've seen a lot of appeals to that, saying like they can never find out who you voted for. They can never find out. Just vote your conscience, vote what's good for you. So I don't know if I want to believe that, but I'm also nervous because of like the 53% of white women and et cetera. You know what I mean? Like, I know that Roe has been overturned since then, but it still is disruptive, Yeah.
Here's my second point. Men are full of shit generally.
Cut it right there. That's it.
That's it. That's it. That's all I wanted to say. But men also say they're going to do something and they don't a lot. And so young men, particularly young men who are probably not saddled with a lot of cash, tend to talk a big game about what they're going to do and then sleep in or sleep through November 5th. So like, I feel like the one thing I'm hoping for is that the amount of young men who are turning out is going to be way lower than they say. And women are going to turn out more than is reported. Yeah. And the third is that the polling from Emerson to Quinnipiac, there was a story about this a couple months ago. The Trump folks, they have PACs that create fake polling companies. These fake polling companies only show up every 4 years. And what they do is, because New York Times and Washington Post and so many of these media organizations, which are also just completely useless, they factor these sham polls into their averages, which means that we narrow the averages even more. I looked at it. Yes, Harris right now is 3 points ahead of Trump. Biden was 5 points ahead of Trump at this same time. So there is a weakening. But again, you're not factoring in shame voting. I think you're going to have the reverse Obama effect, in the sense that the Obama effect, no one wanted to say they were voting for Obama in 2008, and then suddenly everyone was shocked when North Carolina went for him. I think you're having the same, or I guess it's the Obama effect. You're going to have this, people are saying they're voting for Trump, but they're not either going to do it or they're going to vote for Harris.
Right.
And so that would be the hope.
I just imagine like getting to your, looking down the ballot and being like, do I want this drama? Do I want this drama?
That's their pitch.
Bitch back in my life.
Do I want this bitch, this fucking messy bitch, this toxic ex back in my life? Or do I want to be able to fucking bitch and moan about the first female Black and Indian female president? Like, I think they would like the latter. Oh, Republicans love that shit, And next week we're going to talk about the Senate and how that's looking, because it's not looking good for Democrats. But yes, somehow it's still tight. Pallavi, I wanted to give you the last word on this before we go to our final segment.
It's still tight. No, I'm kidding.
Thank you. No,
I'm so sorry. I don't know.
you
What's
should
gonna
never
happen.
be sorry. You guys
Yeah,
are like
don't
making me
apologize
feel
for that.
so much better. I've been feeling like shit, but I was like, oh, why don't I just have comics, all comics? Never smart people.
What?
She's called me neurodivergent. First
I know.
of all,
Dumb.
maybe, but that's up to my TikTok to diagnose me.
Yeah,
And
not
second of
you.
all, not smart. True. I quit my PhD for comedy. So yes.
Dr. TikTok. Oh, that's
Dr.
um,
Professor TikTok. I don't know. I really hope that we don't have to rely on the fact that men won't vote for the next election. I hope the incel vote gets eliminated somehow, and I hope that people do go out and vote. I did read an interesting article about how there is a kind of a myth of if we get more people to vote, they'll go blue. But I've heard, I don't know, that's something that's been perpetuated in politics. But then I read this article about the data of it all, and it's only in certain areas it's a little bit more blue. So I don't know, but it does seem to have very strong demographic lines this election. So
yeah,
we'll see.
I mean, I think we need a counter to the Elon $1 million. I think that Taylor Swift needs to offer
take someone on a private jet. her body.
I think
she has to give her body over.
I think every single day she will sleep with one swing voter.
Oh
We're gonna sleep our way to the top.
This is like the Houston 500 back from the VHS gangbang days.
I thought you were gonna have us throw a pizza party or
any
something.
of those things. No. We got it. You got to.
What Tony said.
That was my old man. That was my old man joke. But I will say, I was protesting the Iraq War when I was 16. The first Iraq War in '91.
Ooh.
Oh my God.
The 51-year-old speaks. 51?
50.
I'm too young and beautiful to have protested anything until this year. No, I'm kidding.
You guys are the best. Before we go, we have one final segment, and I am calling it Final Pitch. We are in the final weeks of the presidential election. Let me start that over, Pallavi.
Sorry.
We're in the final weeks of the presidential election, and both Donald Trump and Kamala Harris are giving their sort of final pitches as to why the American people should vote for them over their opponents. Kamala Harris seems to have settled on Donald Trump, unfit for office. Donald Trump, just look at him. Again, because somehow our justice system has not actually, or our beautiful Constitution has not actually prevented a criminal from running for the highest office in order to stay out of jail. So here we are. Donald Trump hasn't really settled on a message. It's more just whatever. Arnold Palmer's dick was big. Make your dick bigger, MAGA. But if you were running these campaigns, and I know what we might all say, but what would you do in the final weeks that would put you over the finish line in these 7 swing states that you need to win?
If I was Donald Trump, I would promise that if I won, I would become a Real Housewife of New York and never enter politics again.
Ooh, that Donald Trump would?
Yeah, that Donald Trump would become a Real Housewife like we all really want him to.
So would he serve 4 years and then leave?
Oh, honey, he'd serve. He would serve. No, I think he would have a proxy in the White House while he was just messy on TV.
JD Vance.
Yeah, exactly. That's JD Vance. Oh my God, nothing fills me with more terror than the idea of Donald Trump dying in office and having JD fucking Vance as president.
That's the plan.
That's scary.
I think that is the plan.
Ramona was totally rude at that dinner, and she had no business insulting Luann like that.
Pallavi, you just spoke. I mean, Tony's language is reality TV and
Me
Trump
too.
impression.
Oh my God.
Don't you think, by the way, Vanderpump's dead? Don't you think, not her, but do you think the show? I think Vanderpump's dead.
It might be because Ariana is off living her best life, but I think if she decided to come back, everybody would watch.
I don't think she would ever do that. I think that the Valley's going to replace it, and this is the most depressing sort of turn of events. And Sandoval and Jax are going to find some weird sort of like resurgence in the Valley.
We're gonna find out in like 40 years they've done terrible.
Wow, we did it! It's our show, the Bitchuation Room.
The Bitchuation, which does sound like a place to talk about reality TV, but no.
Yes. What's my
Tony,
pitch? Yeah.
If you're Trump, what is your pitch? Closing pitch.
Do I have to do a bit or real? Which one do you want?
Either.
Real. Oh, okay.
Do a bit as the like. That is put that on my gravestone.
There's an enemy within, and let me make it very clear: it's liberals and leftists, and we are going to wipe the floor with every annoying person. That I'm going to build camps, large camps, and put them all inside them. And then we're going to approve a nuclear weapon in the Middle East, and we're going to nuke them. We're going to nuke them out of existence. I mean, what do I honestly think? I think that if he said, I will end the war in Ukraine, I will allow Israel to go full on crazy. And not only that, I will get rid of all taxes, including income taxes, and I will just provide tariffs. But most importantly, I will stop these crazy liberals from transgendering your child.
Yeah.
And I will bring back the America that you want. And you're black, you're Asian, you're Latino. I'm fine with you. It's just these swarthy other people who have accents who come here legally or not that we need to get rid of them. And I am going to shoot college kids on campuses. I'm going to have them shot dead. And I will bring back safety to all of you who are renting your lawns to people who need to walk their dogs. And by the way, that is the closing pitch. That's the closing pitch.
I think that is the closing pitch. I think there needs to be more money involved. I think they're on the right track with the Elon stuff. I think for Donald Trump to really get it over the finish line, he's got to offer. It's just got to be like, it's got to be like $100 a vote kind of thing. I mean, we basically legalized it at this point. But they're so hell bent on doing nothing. I think the other thing he could do is find like someone who was locked up for truancy in California under Kamala Harris's policies. So like he did with his October 2016 surprise where he got, accusers of Bill Clinton. I think he could find someone, run to Kamala's left on the issue on policing and be like, you locked up this mom because their kid wasn't going to school, and find that person, give her a bunch of money and put her on television. That to me could win it for him. Also doing fucking nothing, because apparently that's already winning it for him.
Yeah.
Now let's go to Kamala. I wonder, what could Kamala Harris do in the next 2 weeks that would put her over the finish line? Pallavi, what do you think?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe be a Democrat. Like maybe stop saying that you're going to like jerk off every Republican and put them in your cabinet. I don't like why did you do that after the Waltz pick? I don't understand. And the genocide, maybe have any difference from Joe Biden. Maybe not be afraid to like detail how you're different rather than just saying that you're different and it's going to be different, but really it's not. It's going to be more Republican. Maybe any of those things.
Be me different in a worse way.
Yeah, in a third and more horrifying way.
I think that she should leak a week before that she is going to. Yes, she should leak. No cup. She didn't use a cup. No, she should leak. I'm joking. I think she should leak that she is going to break from Biden's Israel policy, and she should have advisors leak that she is going to have an arms embargo in Israel, but she should not, by any metric, do that in the last 2 weeks for this reason. For all the people, yes, she would pick up people. She might even pick up people who wouldn't turn out. She would definitely, of course, Michigan would really come around and maybe,
Sure.
But at the same time, I think it's already lost. She blew her window to do this. It will now look political. It will be covered by the media in the worst possible way. A media that loves war, that loves what's going on in Israel, that does not give a shit. They own Christiane Amanpour is out on an island somewhere reporting. It's like, Jake Tapper and Dana Bash are, there's no way that if she did that, it would do anything but destroy her campaign at this point. That's the sad truth.
But how much money can AIPAC really spend in the last week? You know what I'm saying?
A ton. They can spend a ton. And by the way, I'm saying this as someone who wants that. I am a lefty, but I also am someone who loves politics so much that I do know that she would get fucked sideways every direction if she did that now. And in addition, yes, the Cheney thing is gross and whatever. They've made, I think, the wrong calculation that Nikki Haley, which I do think, by the way, I think Nikki Haley is not staying silent just for no reason. I think that there was a calculation. Haley will step out and not do anything with Trump. You bring in the Cheney folks to try to get this disaffected large swath of Haley voters. Haley and Cheney will both be in the cabinet. And
Gross.
I'm telling you now, and that what their calculation is that the people they lose on the left, they gain more from the disaffected Haley voters because they're factoring in this quiet woman vote. That's what I think. I'm not advocating for it, but I think that's what it is.
That's a good. That's a good.
We can push Elizabeth Cheney left.
Yeah, we definitely can push Liz Cheney. I mean, that's a good.
That's what I think.
I think that's a good theory. I agree that she needs to. It'd be fun to leak a little audio of her being like, Benjamin Netanyahu is a war criminal. This is awful. This is a Holocaust. This is a genocide.
Weapons do not come to Israel. Weapons.
Yeah, missiles do not
a video
come.
of her that's clearly her just holding a phone and just saying it, and they're like leaked video, and she just like recorded it in a hotel room.
Yeah, 5,000-pound bombs, 2,000-pound bombs do not come. No, but I don't know if she'll do that. Here's my thing. I'm just like, can you just get it under the door? Just say it. Just say some shit. Weapons embargo. We need to, come into order with international law, with American law. This is ridiculous. But I do think, barring that, I don't think it's working to talk about Trump's unfitness because fucking everybody knows.
Everybody's known for 9 years. I don't know why they talk about that.
I think you do two things. You just pummel people with ads that are about abortion. It's just abortion.
But the Democrats have to deliver. If they don't deliver in that 4 years in some way, if they don't,
we're not talking about 4 years, Anthony. We're talking about 3 weeks.
No, but I'm saying if they win on that, if that's the messaging and they win on that, if they don't deliver in that 4 years, forget it.
That's what we said about Biden, though. We were like, he has to get rid of student loans. He has to do all these things. We only have like a few years to complete this. And he fucking didn't. And
well, a lot of people's student loans are clearing this week. However, check your shit.
I do want to say this about Biden. I know that in the grand scheme of things, it's all a mess.
Genocide.
But Biden,
Butcher Biden.
And that was Butcher Biden. But his achievements should be something that Harris can run on in terms of economic achievements, in terms of infrastructure achievement. And you can make a great case against this false idea of the inflation argument, which we act as if inflation is some sort of like smoke monster and loss that we just never explain. Inflation occurred because greedy multinationals had their shipping backed up. They already made tons of money on the pandemic. And then greed after greed, when their shipping started to reopen and they saw those rising minimum wages to $20 an hour at McDonald's and Burger King, they went, you know what? Fuck that. We are going to use our shipping backup as an excuse to jack prices. And because we have no price caps and no stones in this government whatsoever to take over Twitter, It's on a public internet structure. Seize SpaceX.
They're so
Just
scared.
do it.
I know.
Seize it.
Seize it.
And,
And
that's
forget
my
sector.
closing argument. My closing argument is if Harris said we're going to seize industries, we are going to seize industries. We're going to tag these MAGA fucks like pigeons, and we're not going to let them even run for office. And we're going to do un-American shit. We're going to detain people. We're going to do all the shit that we do to everybody else who comes to this country. Do it to the right people. That's what my argument is. Fuck these motherfuckers.
I'm scared.
I love you so much. Tag these MAGA fucks like pigeons needs to be on a shirt.
I don't stand this pigeon slander. Pigeons are incredible. First of all,
I love pigeons.
They're the best. They work for us.
Neurodivergent doves. Okay, that's all they are. They're neurodivergent doves. That is a great pitch, and I agree with you. I think, we will see. Anthony and Pallavi, what a goddamn pleasure.
That was so much fun. Nice to meet you, Pallavi, by the way.
I'm a huge fan of your work.
Oh, I am too. I loved your 2 Kill Tony appearances.
Thank you so much.
You just found out about.
I did get endorsed by Joe Rogan on one of them, so thank you.
Did you really?
He thought I was very funny.
Wow. Well, then look at that. But look at that. You succeeded. Maybe there was something to kill
Do you
Tony.
think a Rogan? Okay, so here's another thing. People think Rogan
Harris interview.
Rogan Harris interview.
Rogan Harris
be fine.
2028.
Another thought that Cyborg Elf Gaming is putting into their Cyborg Elf Gaming. I'll read your comment later. Kyle Wary says she needs to talk about legalizing weed a lot more and much louder. What do you guys think? Weed?
Absolutely. Weed and abortion.
Yeah.
Weed and abortion.
Absolutely.
Okay. Anthony, where can people find you, follow your work, see you?
Ooh, boy. They can go to, actually, you know what? Forget me personally. I'm not that interesting, but follow at Coffee with Tony on Twitter or X or whatever, and at Coffee with Tony on Twitch, and at Coffee with Tony live on YouTube. And you can watch the most unpopular stream known to man. You want it 5 days a week, 2 p.m. Eastern. Join the other 40 people who sit and watch me rant. Nobody likes it. Nobody likes the show. I don't like the show, but I do it every day.
I'm subscribing right now. I like the show.
And watch Shadows and go,
Shadows
watch
great.
President Show and all that stuff.
Hell yeah. Tony, we love you. Thanks so much for being here. And Pallavi, where can people find you?
Okay, get your pens out. I'm at Pallavi Gunalan, PALLAVIGUNALAN on all platforms. I also do stand-up, and I run a show at the Comedy Store the 3rd Friday of the month in Hollywood. It's called Facial Recognition Comedy. You can follow that account as well. And hopefully you'll find me doing shows near you.
You're wonderful. Come back very, very soon. Thanks so much for being here. Now I'm like, we should do an election stream just with the 3 of us, and obviously my voice back. Thank you guys so much for being here. Let's read some comments. Let's do the fart song, and then let's fuck off into the evening. Thank you, Rage Rock for now says, your voice is sounding great. Stop lying. Grateful for your coverage of the shit show. I'm not rooting for Trump, although Kamala does deserve to lose. I don't disagree with you there. Excuse me. Robert reminding us that children are a hotbed of disease. Thank you. And Washa says, Naomi Klein was amazing on Bad Hasbara. That's Matt Lieb's podcast, and she was really good. Everybody listen to that episode. Lanzetta says, Colorado was based enough to recognize that Trump should be disqualified from running for president. I still don't know why the liberal justices voted against that ruling. Yeah, it's just like, because the establishment, because their image, because not looking partisan, even though they're literally on the same bench as like 3 George W. Bush fucking hacks. Like, they're all on with these Heritage Foundation fucks. And not the Heritage Foundation, I'm forgetting, the Federalist Society fucks. And like, you're on with the coup plotters. You're on with the people who threw the election to George W. Bush. And now you're being like, I don't want to appear too partisan. Ridiculous. Zane the Magic Puffer Dragon says, I love Greg Palast. Thank you. Yes, I'm excited to have him on Friday. Boulder That Point says, the Joel Osteens of the world need to pay up. Wait, do I know what that means? Fuck. Todd Roy reminding us that we're trying to get to 100,000 subscribers over on YouTube. So subscribe right now. We're at like 96 something. 94.8. Not that I know exactly what we're at, but yes, everybody subscribe to the show right now. Daniel Lee, hi, how are you? Says, I'm pretty sure that dude is only using autism as a weird deflection tactic so he can do dumb shit, which does a disservice to us actually neurodivergent folks. That is very true. He's like, he's just making up for the fact that he cannot speak. And I feel like, well, if you, well, funny thing about, anyway, totally. Well, that's how he speaks. Rachel Atwood, I just voted to give rideshare drivers the right to unionize, to legalize medical magic mushrooms, and to phase out the tip minimum wage in Massachusetts. Bro, legalizing magic mushrooms? Yes. Open your minds. Jesus Christ. LA Times is not endorsing Harris. Interesting. Also, Jessica Rubio says mass deportation will also drastically hurt the economy. Elon always talks about how we need to make more babies because the birth rate is down. The immigrants will help our economy. Yes, and that is also part of the Social Security discussion, because if you mass deport the people paying into the system, that again creates a cliff for retirement. Let's see. Joel Osteen runs a mega church. Yes. Thank you, Pallavi. Thank you. We haven't done enough stories on that. It's too bad. And Pallavi's still here watching in the wings. And Cyborg Elf Gaming, I said I'd read your comments, says, I'm a middle-aged white guy and I already voted for Harris and Walz. Where are you at though? And a final happy birthday to Rachel Atwood, who I hope had a great birthday. And with that, let's play the fart song for all the patrons at $10 or more at the Franny Stan tier. Let's go. A lot of energy, and I didn't match it. Thank you to Monk Without a Cause. Thank you to Canatrol. Thank you to Francis Smith. Thank you to Falling. Thank you to Adrian Roberts. Thank you to Jeremy Bearden. You guys, what a strong week. Really appreciate you. You truly make the show happen. That is no hyperbole. And you get access to the bonus episodes, and I hope you enjoy them. Rodney Thomas became a member on YouTube. Thank you. Untamed Chaos, also a member. Willie Bro, thank you for your channel support. And US Combat Vet gave out one membership. You're awesome. Thank you for becoming a member and for gifting. How generous. Over on Twitch, Omega Shenron Dragon resubscribe for 12 months. 1 year, baby. In the words of Adam Cole, I hope to be on to support this awesome show regardless of what happens. Unless Fran is a meanie or goes grifty, but I know that won't happen. Also, I would not trust the man to deliver my pizza. He'd assume there would be an adult film scenario. I don't know who you're talking about. But thank you. And thank you, Omega Star, also for your bits. And that is where we'll end it on this fart. I've been in it too long to go grifty, and I am also, say it with me, allergic to money, but not yours, Frantifa, not yours. We'll do an AMA this Friday. Send in your questions, bitiation@gmail.com, or to the Patreon. You can do a private chat there if you don't want your question out, or we'll be posting the link and you can post your question there. Also, if you listen as a podcast, there's a survey that I put in the metadata. So click that survey, fill it out. It's just honest feedback, how much you listen, why you like the show, what you don't like about the show. That truly helps me. And so I love it. And remember to also thank our producer, Paige Omac, Maximilian Inhofe, and Andy Vasoyan, our editor. We're streaming Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Fridays, 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern. And remember to fight the power, fuck the patriarchy, and the patriarchy, free Palestine, and don't just bitch about it, be about it. Oh my God, bye.